All right, everybody, what is going on? Good afternoon. We got more running backs to get to here, and now we are on to the day 2 running backs. The first video was the day 1 running back, and there's only one. So we did one video on that guy, but now we're on to the day 2 guys. These are guys that are expected to be round 2, round 3 picks. Another Notre Dame guy we're going to start with here, Jadarian Price. 22, a little bit on the smaller side, 203 pounds. Arm length is pretty good, though, and arm length does matter for running backs a little bit, by the way, because the longer armed ones tend to fumble a little bit less. Had a pretty decent combine overall. Not very fast. I mean, I know it's 76th percentile, which sounds pretty good, but remember, that's compared to all running backs in the last almost 3 decades that did the combine, and the 10-yard split is actually a little bit concerning here. So, not particularly fast. Decent amount of explosion in the hips, the vert and the broad, that's kind of what that measures. And he did do 21 bench press reps, which is good. You can see the big boards mostly have him in the second. ESPN actually has him in the fourth. They're the lowest, but the database does have him in the late second round area. Last year had almost 700 rushing yards and almost 100 receiving yards. He was obviously the second running back to Love. Had 13 total touchdowns, though, and averaged 6 yards a carry. Year before that, had 750 yards, only 10 receiving yards. And by the way, not much of a receiver, this guy. I will go ahead and admit that right now. But both years, strong PFF grade, 78.6, 76.4. Good player. So good production for a number 2 back when you're behind Jeremiah Love. There's only so many balls that you're going to get your way. So my pros on Jadarian Price, he's elusive, he's agile in open space, he's a good creator, somebody who can make guys miss in the open field. He's reliably cutting upfield at the right time. He's a good cutter. He's got good, sharp, timely cuts. He knows how to pace a run to maximize output. He's somebody who understands that you're not always just going to be sprinting at the fastest possible rate. You sometimes jog, you sometimes pace yourself, you sometimes stop even and let the run develop. You let your blockers get out to where they need to be. He improvises well. He's also a kickoff return threat. He did some good work returning kickoffs in college, and he sees the defense very well. He's got good vision, and I think that will translate to the NFL pretty well. Now, some of the issues with him as a player, not a third down back, and that's as a pass catcher and also I think as a blocker. Not really much to say there. I don't think he's going to give you much positive on either count. Not really somebody who survives contact all that well, not somebody who's going to squeeze out extra yards. He does tend to go down at first contact. He doesn't have the upper level talent to maximize his smarts. Like he's got the vision, he's got the understanding of cutting. He just doesn't have the speed and quickness to really fully take advantage of it. He's not tremendously explosive. So in some ways, his smarts are a little bit wasted at times. He also fumbles a little bit, and I think he tore his Achilles in 2022. So he's already got some injury red in his ledger. So I think he'd be a decent fit for outside zone. I do kind of like the fit. I think he'll be valuable in the NFL. You just got to put him in the right situation. But again, he kind of captures the limitations of this class. He's likely going to be, this should be likely. He's likely a second rounder, and his tools are just kind of okay, and he's no good on third down. Normally, this is a running back that I think you get somewhere around round 4. In this class, he's probably going to go in round 2. Now, because this draft class isn't very good, I would be okay with him reluctantly in the very late second, but you look at this player and you do kind of get the sense that, is this the best we can do in the 50s? Not even the third round, not even through the first half of day 2, and we're already looking at Jadarian Price. So it's a little bit of a tough sell for me, but in this class, I get it. Okay, next guy is going to be Jonah Coleman, Washington. If you are a Huskies fan, you're pretty familiar with this guy. He's been on the team for a couple years now, and he's been good. 23 years old. Very short. Very, very short. 5'8", one of the shorter running backs in recent memory. He is, however, very stout. So he's got a very low center of gravity, which can be very good for a running back. But he's got very short arms, worth being a little bit concerned about. Only thing he did at the combine was the bench press, and he did well, but it's easier to bench press when you have short arms, so beware. Big boards mostly put him in the third. CBS puts him in the fourth. Aggregate has him in the third at 76. Seems about right to me. He was off to a great start last year, but then he started getting hurt, and then he started playing a lot less, and he ended up only getting 758 rushing yards. Pretty disappointing. Not even 5 yards a carry. 15 touchdowns is good, and he did great work as a receiver. He had 350 receiving yards, 82.1 PFF grade. He did well, but he left a lot of meat on the bone because of getting hurt, and it felt like he was on the way to have like at least a 1,200-yard season, and then things just didn't break his way. 2024, that was actually a better year. Over 1,050 yards, 10 touchdowns, 5.5 yards a carry, also 177 receiving yards. So more production, but you get a pretty good idea of the kind of player he is. He's got great vision. He runs with tremendous vision, sets up plays really well, knows how to wait for his blockers to get into place before going. Really good pass catcher and also an excellent blocker. He may end up being the best blocking back in this draft. That is something that he seems to take very seriously, and it's something that he seems to do very well. He runs with the appropriate patience that you need when you are a running back of not uber speed or uber talent. His short build allows him to use leverage to survive contact. He can be the low man into contact, and that's something that serves him very well. And he's also got some decent open space moves. He's not elusive, but he's slippery. I don't know if that'll translate to the NFL, but he's not just a straightforward back all the time. But at the end of the day, he's not fast and he's not quick. He takes a while to get up to top speed, and his top speed is pretty low. Despite having good contact balance because he's so short, I wouldn't call him a power back either. I think he needs a little bit of room to build up to a power back. What's the right word? Momentum. He had a disappointing final college season, not totally his fault, but it does concern you a little bit when you're talking about a player that's already flawed. He's not really a route runner, though. I do think he's a good receiver because he catches balls that get to him, but he's not really a route runner. He's more of a check down guy. So limited value there, even though he is a good receiver. Occasionally, he'll play a little indecisively and not hit the hole as hard as he should. And for a guy like this, I mean, I understand that he's trying to balance patience with decisiveness, but you got to go. And I wouldn't call him elusive. Like I said, he's slippery, but he's not really elusive. So I like watching him play. He's got a great understanding of vision and how to, seek out the hole visually and set the play up. But I don't think there's enough here for him to be much more than like an okay number 2 or a really good number 3 type running back. And in this class, I guess I can take him in the late third, but even that's kind of getting tough for me the more I look at this. Like there are some concerns here that become more evident when you start looking at him as an NFL player rather than a college player. Okay, final day 2 guy as of right now. That can change. Emmett Johnson of Nebraska. 22 years old. Interesting candidate here. Size, little bit smaller than average, although in the modern NFL, not really. He's got giant hands, though. He's got really big hands for whatever that's worth. He did do, I believe, everything at the combine, which is nice. He did okay, not stellar, but I mean, at least he went out there and he did the thing. I can appreciate that, but 4.5, 640, so not very fast. 10-yard split, especially by modern standards. The vert and the broad are okay. The 3-cone was terrible, 7.32, one of the worst 3 cones in recent memory. 20-yard shuttle was fine, 4.29, and then he did 16 bench press reps. So, I mean, it's a little all over the place, but none of it really blows you away. Most of the mocks or big boards have him in the third. One of the Walter didn't even have him listed. CBS had him in the 5th, so a little bit all over the place, but mostly a 3rd rounder, and I think that's about right. Very productive for Nebraska this last year. 1,450 rushing yards, 46 catches, 370 receiving yards. Very productive, 15 touchdowns, 5.8 yards a carry. Not a great Nebraska offense in general, by the way, but he really puts the team on his back, 85.6. Year before that, wasn't used as much. Still good, 600 yards, almost another 300 receiving. So not as much usage, but, you can see the seeds of a good player there. So the thing about Emmett Johnson is he runs like a freight train. A lot of power, a lot of stamina, a lot of drive. He gives it his all on every snap. He just plows into the defense over and over again until they're sick of tackling him. Very eager to commit to a gap, and then he just takes it with with the force of a locomotive. He's a very good pass catcher as well, so he's not just a blunt instrument. He's a very good pass catcher. He's got smooth cuts as well. He's actually got a nice cut. Um, Always gives maximum effort. He's proven that he can take on a full workload and hold up. He had or almost 300 touches in 2025, and he held up and remained productive throughout. So he can stay upright, and he just wears down defenses with his power over and over again. But because of that, I think he's meant for a pretty simplified gap-based scheme. I don't know if zone would work that well with him. I think he needs things to be kept simple for him. He doesn't have good speed to break away, so a lot of his good carries don't become great carries. Even though he runs with power, it's one of those things where it's almost like he runs to create destruction rather than run to break tackles. He wants to be a bowling ball, but sometimes the bowling ball just kind of explodes rather than going through. So it's one of those things where he's very powerful, but it doesn't necessarily help him as much as you would think. He is kind of small for a back that plays this physically, which concerns you. And he's not really a good improviser or a very good creator. So things need to be kept simple and straightforward for him. I think he'll be really annoying to deal with for defenses, but honestly, the main thing I think he'll be good at in terms of efficiency and production is his pass catching ability. So that's a little bit tough because I feel like the runaway freight train thing won't last long at his size. So I'm waiting until day 3 before I pick this guy. All right, that's it for the day 2 backs. More stuff coming soon. See you guys later. Go Hawks.